Hi, I'm Boruch Rabinowitz, making a difference for the Jewish people. And today, we're on the 48-way number 9, which is Tahara, which means purity. And the rabbis say that in order to really live fully, to acquire Torah, to achieve greatness, you need to master the tool of Tahara. There's a lot of purity. There's a lot in this 48-way. We're going to have to boil it down to 6 essential points. And we're going to define what they are, and hopefully we'll get a few practical elements. Did you ever meet somebody who's laser focused? They really know what they want, and they're emotionally in tuned, and they are completely there? That's a feeling for what we're trying to accomplish over here. So there's 6 aspects to purity. One is intellectual purity quantity-wise, which means take one idea at a time, focus on it, complete concentration. Don't get distracted. A person who is focused has a power. Today we're so distracted by everything going on. This is taking one idea and focusing on it. Intellectual purity quantity-wise. The second is intellectual purity quality-wise, which means that ideas are real, that ideas really influence who we are, and that we have to know and believe that our ideas are very determined, very much who we are. And you see this, that people have certain ideas about themselves, positive or negative. It affects their self-image, their self-concept, their confidence. Ideas are very powerful. I'll tell you a story that happened to me a number of years ago. I was with my Rabbi Weinberg, and we just came back for lunch. We were walking in Manhattan. It was actually, I think, around Broadway and 37th Street, and it was a few weeks before Rosh Hashanah. And since my rabbi knew me so well, knew me better than anybody, I said, so, Rabbi Noach, tell me, what do you think I should be working on? What do you think I need to really be doing to grow this year? I want to work on my goals for Rosh Hashanah. And he said to me, without skipping a beat, stop fighting with God. You're fighting with God. And I was taken aback. What do you mean, fighting with God? And this is what I'm thinking to myself. I didn't talk to him that way. So what do you mean, fighting with God? I don't fight with God. I said, excuse me, Rav Noach, but I don't fight with God. If you want to say that I ignore God, I got it. Okay. I'm not there, all the time. But fighting with God, I don't do that. He said, no, you're fighting with God. I said, okay, so please tell me, what do you mean that I'm fighting with God? He goes, God loves you, and he thinks you're beautiful, and you don't have that image of yourself. So whose definition of you are you going to believe, God or you? So that was a very powerful lesson for me, because not only with me, but with other people, when you don't feel the worthiness and the goodness of who you really are, so your whole life is going to be clouded. And you see when people go to therapy and they don't feel good about themselves, it affects how they treat others, how they treat themselves. It's just so true. That's emotional purity quality-wise, that ideas are real. The third aspect is that was intellectual purity quality-wise. The next one is emotional purity quantity-wise, which means we have the ability to take one emotion and be ruthless about it, and we can ride it. I just read a story about a Rabbi, David Grossman, who's from Israel, very famous rabbi, and he said he has the ability and the blessing to be able to focus on the emotion of love when he meets people. He loves people all the time. Can you imagine that people didn't irritate you to the point where you don't love them? That if you had this ability to love people, you had that emotion, you knew what it was, and you can do it with everybody, how powerful that is? That's an inkling of what this is about, that you have the ability to focus on emotion and ride it. And then there's emotional purity quality-wise, which means that you have a berserker switch. You can turn up the knob. You can increase that emotion so you're completely, fully involved in it, right? You know that, God forbid, if a person's in a situation, a life-threatening situation, they can go berserk. They can pick up a car. They can run into a building that is on fire and save people. We have that ability to do that. The fifth aspect is goal purity, which means you know what you want. Get rid of all the distractions. Focus on what you want. And we have this in Jewish consciousness, that when we do something, we should focus beforehand, what's the goal? What do I want? What am I trying to achieve? I'm going to a lot of weddings these days. A lot of my friends' kids are getting married. And what is a wedding? What are you supposed to, as an attendee, you're just supposed to go because they invited you, you show up, you put a sour face on, smile a couple times, eat your meal. The goal in Jewish consciousness of a wedding, of a person attending a wedding, is to make the bride and groom happy. That's your focus. It's giving to them, not because they need you, but they need you to give to them to be happy. So when you know what you want and you focus on it, you have a goal, it's clarity, it's confidence, it's clear. And then the last aspect is integration purity-wise, which means that you put it all together: intellectual purity, quantity, emotional purity, quality and quantity-wise, and you put it all together and you become a very powerful human being. Thank you for listening. If you liked it, please share it with somebody else. Check out my website, BoruchRabinowitz.com.